Hello, I'm Eloise and this is my channel, and for today's video we are doing something very, very exciting. If you've been living under a rock, Decay have collaborated with Game of Thrones and here is the palette. Yeah, she thick. If you haven't had an Decay palette before, they go pretty all out. Can we? Yeah. But that's not where you'll find the eyeshadows, oh no. There's a little drawer with all the beautiful, gorgeous colours that it comes in. So yeah, if you want to see a little bit more, if you want to see me put these eyeshadows on these eyeballs, then make sure you keep on watching. Okay, so we're going to start off with the eyeshadow primer in the shade Eden. I'm just going to whack that on all over. And I just like to use my finger to tap that out. I feel like sometimes using a brush for this step is a bit of a waste of a brush. So yeah, I'm just going to use my finger until it's really nice and tacky. And I never tend to set my eyeshadow primer. So you want to make sure that it is nice and tacky, not too wet. If it's too wet and you go straight in with your eyeshadow, then it's going to start to cling in certain areas and grab and go a little bit patchy. And now I'm going to take my iconic eyeshadow brush, and the reason I love this brush is because it's flat on the end. So you can really hug it into the crease, but it's also really fluffy and flimsy, so you can get a lot of blending out of it as well. And I'm going to take the shade Lannister Red, and I'm going to start to map out the shape of my eyeshadow. When I'm going for dramatic eyeshadow looks, I tend to go for my deepest colour first. So you get a real rich lay down pigment of colour, and then you can go in with your transition colour to blend out afterwards. That's why I like to have a slightly tackier base, so that I can literally just stick right onto it. And when I've got my eyes looking straight forward, I still like to be able to see the edge of my eyeshadow. That's how high up I want to go. And now I'm going to start to wing that out. So again, I'm just mapping out my shape first. And if you haven't tried this technique before, it does look super scary and hideous until you start to blend out those edges. But give it a go, because it gives you a really dramatic lay down of colour that sometimes you can't get from when you set your base. Okay, so now that I've got that winged out, you can start to ever so slightly soften the edges. Go left and right, really softly, barely touching the skin. And this is going to make it so much easier when you go in with your transition colour to blend them out. So now I'm going to take Smoky Crease brush, and this one is much rounder on the end compared to the Iconic Eye. So this one's going to be your great buffing brush. And I'm going to take the shade House Lannister, and I'm going to start to blend out those edges. And I bring this colour quite high up into my eyebrow and also out into my temples as well. I'm going to do an almost sort of drape effect. And now that we've softened the edges with House Lannister, I'm going to go back in with Lannister Red and just re-establish that colour, because it can disappear a little bit, so you want to just re-establish it. And this is when I'm going to start to wing it out even more into the temple. And then I'm going to go back into House Lannister and just really buff that. And now what I'm going to do is take my highlighting diffusing brush, go in big circular motions into my temple, and this is going to start our draping effect. And you can go over the eyeshadow that you've already done. So now what I'm going to do is take Bay of Dragons, and I'm going to start to highlight over the top so that it's going to really nicely join into the highlighter that I've already got on, and it's going to give you that beautiful pink duochrome. Just something a little bit interesting. And then to make it ever so slightly more icy, I'm going to take Hard Home and just place that over the top and bring it down into the highlighter as well. Now I'm going to take Moon Dust brush, and I'm going to take Lannister Red again and just drag this underneath my eye and make sure that it joins up to the top eyeshadow as well, so it's one continuous sweep of eyeshadow. Now that I'm happy with the shape that I've created and everything's all blended out and seamless, I'm going to start on the lid. So what I'm going to do first is load my brush up with the Sight, which is this gorgeous emerald green, and I'm just going to place that right next to Lannister Red in a patting and slightly dragging motion so that it really makes this shimmer pop. And I'm hugging that really nice and tightly next to Lannister Red. That shimmer is so gorgeous. So now what I'm going to do is flip my brush and take Free Folk And I really want this beautiful fire meets ice sort of look, because that's what the palette screams to me. There's so many warm and cool tones in there, so I thought I have a really warm crease but a really cool lid. And like I said, I'm bringing that higher than my crease so that when my eyes are looking straight forward, you can still see the edge of the shimmer. And I'm going to flip my brush, and that's just going to blend the two together. And now what I'm going to do to blend this Sight and Lannister Red is take Weirwood Leaves and just pat that right in between the two. And that just meshes the green and the red together beautifully. And now to play with a little bit of colour, I'm just going to take my pinky finger and the shade Bay of Dragons and just pop that right in that inner corner to give a fun pop of pink. And to make it a bit more sparkly, I'm going to take Hard Home and pop that straight over the top so you can still see the pink. It's a little bit more sparkly. And because we've got a bareness right here, I'm going to add the shade Bend the Knee. And again, that's just adding a really fun pop of colour. I'm now just going to add the 24/7 Glide On pencil in the shade Alkaline into my waterline, and then line the top lashes with my Perversion pen. To finish off with the lips, I'm going to be using the 24/7 Glide On pencil in the shade 1993, topped off with Vice lipstick in the shade Uptight. So this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed. This is something pretty crazy for me. There's a lot of colours on my eyes right now. I haven't done a pretty crazy look in a long time, but I'm feeling it. I don't know about you, but I love it. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a huge thumbs up, subscribe and all that jazz. I'm Eloise, this is my channel, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.